Alright, hope everybody's having a good one. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator with Cookie Pirate. Today, we're going from Fairbanks, Alaska down to Kodiak in the SR22. Long haul flight. It looks like it's gonna be not that long. Probably 2.5 hours, maybe a little bit more. Not more than 3 hours. This is a long haul. We're going at 24,000 feet. Possibly higher, just depending on the density altitude when we get up to the air and everything. About 450 nautical miles. Climb aboard, let's go flying. Whoa. It's so fogged in you can't hardly see anything around. Wow. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, that's something today. Alright, we're loaded in. There's the tower. But I can't even see across the other side. Well, first things, let's get the weather. We know it's bad. Calm wind, quarter mile visibility, smoke. Yeah, okay. Vertical visibility is 1,100 feet. I don't know about that. 24 Celsius, 2973 on the altimeter. Let's go ahead, turn the battery switches on. Let's get this going. -4 amperage, 25.8 on the volts. Extra go full rich. Power will give full forward. Boost pump on. Close the throttle and then bump it forward just a little bit here. Meet me at the cornerstone. I know that I can't be without you. This bond is solid. Alright, we have enough room to go ahead. It took me forever to find you. House kind of jumped all of a sudden there. Alright, it's clear. Clear! Engine started. Oil pressure's up immediately, temperature is starting to rise. Go ahead and lean the mixture out on the ground. There's peak, we'll pull the power back to 1,000. It's good there. Alternator switch is on. That's good. And avionics on. Engine instruments are looking good so far. That's all good. Flaps are up. That's all good. We don't need to switch tanks yet. Alright. Go ahead and just preset the autopilot stuff right now. This is going to be set to 1. We normally do 110. I'll explain we're going higher than that right now. Now, actually, we're going to set it to 110. We'll change it later. Altitude we'll take to 24,000. VNav on, nav on. Strobe lights, I forgot to turn those on. Nav lights, we'll go ahead and turn those as we get ready to taxi. That all looks good. Let's go ahead, release the parking brake, and get going. Push back tug there. Right through the wing. Just as they walk right through the wings. God, this visibility is really low. It looks so cool with the airplanes and stuff. Can't really see much there. Stop! Ooh, that was close. Alright, parking brake is set. Clear those. Let's go ahead and do the run up real quick. Fuel quantity, oh, you know what? We've got to adjust that. We should have full tanks. We're gonna carry full de-icing. Alright, there we go. That's the cheat way. Totally forgot to do that when we started, but whatever. Alright, we'll go ahead and switch the fuel tanks now. Fuel pump stays on, mixture goes full rich. Flaps 50, and we'll check them in a second. We'll set the transponder altitude. Good. Clear to left. And the right. Flaps are at half. Autopilot's good. Don't need cabin heat or anything. Check the trim wheel while I'm thinking about it. Trim is set. Alright. I'm gonna go ahead, bump the power up to 1700 RPM. Alright, landing lights on, ice light, pitot heat. Voltage is 28.2, amperage is not draining. No annunciators, that's good. Alright, let's do the mag check. 1694, let's go to the right. Good. Back to both. Now to the left. Good. Back to both. Our engine instruments are looking good at the moment. So we're good with all that. Go ahead and pull the power back. Altimeter is set, we have the weather. Trim is set, let's check the flight controls. Alright, rudder's good. Elevator is good. Ailerons are good. Let's go back into the cockpit. And autopilot is disengaged. Our takeoff is going to be pretty normal. Set to 5 miles here. We'll turn those off, we'll leave these on. Go ahead and release the parking brake. Now we're going to taxi out, it's going to be a normal takeoff. We'll rotate at 77 knots, and we'll lift off in the low 80s. And we'll just pitch for 110 to climb until we are at 1,200 feet, at which we'll engage the autopilot, turn on course, and once we're established on course, we'll begin the cruise climb technique. Which is going to be way different from what we've normally done thus far. Yeah, look at the lights. Alright. Full power ahead. Can't really see much of anything. Kinda interesting. Engine instruments are looking good. Airspeed has come alive. On, there's 77. Up! Good. Yeah, you just can't really see much of anything right here. Alright. Could bring the flaps up. Yeah, I mean, just look at that. There's really nothing to be seen right here. I mean, wow. For 1200. Autopilot's engaged. Accelerate to 110. This will intercept the GPS course. Go ahead and zoom out a little bit there. Alright, we are on course, so what we're going to go ahead and do is the cruise climb checklist. This is the lean of peak. Normally when we climb, we go full power, lean it to rich of peak, and we just climb fast until we reach our cruise. This is oriented to save fuel, and over the long haul, we're going to need to save fuel for this flight. So what we're going to do, the first thing is pull the power back to 30.5 like we normally set for cruise. Down just a little bit there. Back down. Alright. Now we lean to the cyan target or less. What that means is we're going to actually go here into the engine. And we normally stick with about 20 gallons. That's most efficient in cruise peak power. We're actually going to bring it to, it shouldn't have done that. It's because our manifold pressure jumped. We'll leave it about there. And we want to leave it at the cyan target here. And then we are going to... Well, we'll go back into the checklist real quick. Minimum airspeed is 120, so we're going to speed to 120. And you can actually do this at 130 or 140 even. Fuel pump stays on boost. We turn oxygen on if needed. We don't use oxygen, it's not simulated. We keep an eye on these cylinder head temps. We don't want them to go above 420. Right now they're at 330, so they're going to be fine. What we basically do is just kind of climb like this. And we try to keep this right at this target right here. So actually we want to bump it down a little bit more. Now we're going to have a nice, efficient climb, but it's going to take us a little bit longer to do so. But we're going to save a lot of fuel in the process. So now we'll take a look, and yeah, you can't see anything down here. You can see a few mountains kind of sticking up in the background. There's Denali. And out that way you can see just a couple peaks kind of sticking up. So, but yeah. That's really the enjoyment of the flight so far, is just a nice, easy, slow cruise climb up to 24,000 feet. And then we'll do a lean climb, or a lean cruise procedure at 24 when we reach that. Because this is a long flight, I'm not going to be sitting narrating everything going on. You can see even in some of my short flights, once we're at cruise, there's not a whole lot to do and there's not a whole lot to talk about. So this is kind of just going to be a more relaxing kind of watch for viewing pleasure, and yeah, so I'll point things out as they come about. But you know, in the meantime, I guess you could sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight, as they say. And actually, if you look at it, our climb performance isn't bad. Still doing a little over 1,000 feet per minute, which is kind of about target. If you were to lower the nose and let the speed increase to about 130, 140, we'd get below that. I think if we did 130 right now, we would get right at about 1,000 feet per minute. Temperature's getting cold. We're going to have to turn the pitot heat on. Let's go ahead and do that. We can turn the landing lights off. We want to keep this right at here. Normally in the cruise, we're burning 30 to 35 gallons per minute. Per hour. Oh gosh, we're burning 35 gallons per minute. Something is seriously wrong. 35 per hour, and we're doing about half of that in this lean of peak climb. The thing is, it's taking us more time to climb and reach our altitude. So you don't do this on shorter flights that are like an hour or so. On a flight like today, where it's going to be about 2 hours and probably 40 minutes, this is still saying a little over 3 hours, but that hasn't taken into account our true airspeed and increase the speed at cruise. And you look at this, these temperatures are higher because the mixture is so leaned out. These would be lower when the mixture is closer to rich, and also when we're running full power, which we are not right now. And in fact, you can kind of see the position of the throttle and the mixture. Looks like some of the smoke, fog, clouds starting to kind of burn up. We just crossed 10,000 feet. So our route today, I will cover that right now. We just took off out of Fairbanks, which is here. Nenana, and a little further down, you're going to see airports like Clear and Healy River, McKinley Park. Of course, we'll go down here over the, not over, but close to the valley. Denali out here, be off to our right like it usually is. And then we come down not far from Talkeetna, over the valley. We'll pass just off of Anchorage. We'll cross over the Kenai Peninsula. We'll be near Kenai and Soldotna. Almost right over Soldotna, in fact. Seward is out way to the east of our route. We'll pass almost right over Homer, right over the very southern tip of the Kenai Peninsula, and then down into Kodiak. So that's the route today. I'll pull it back up and you can zoom out and just see. On a bigger scale. So yeah, quite a bit. Long flight. A lot of cool stuff to see though. We do still need to watch our fuel burn and switch tanks back and forth, but because we're burning through less fuel, we don't have to do that as often. So chances are we'll recognize that before we get the reminder like I so often do in this plane. Ding! Fuel imbalance. Oh, I forgot to switch the tanks again. As often happens. This is a lot less likely this time. I mean, we're literally burning about half the fuel. Maybe just a tiny bit over half. But we're burning about half the fuel that we normally would in a full climb.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in us. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it away. Tonight, we gonna let it just like the sunrise. We gonna let it away.
Take a look outside the cockpit. And yeah, as you turn back, you could just see this sheet of what looks like fog, but is smoke. Just right out over the Fairbanks area. So at the rate that we're climbing, it looks like it's going to take us about another 8 minutes or so to reach cruise. Really, what I should do is start the timer when we go airborne, so we can track our flight time. There's a slight loss of power right there. So that's right about where we want to leave it. If we want to cruise with less power, or climb with less power, you actually can do that, and just bring it down into here, but you'll notice a significant drop of power. For example, if I pull it way down here, now all of a sudden we're only getting 50%, and it's actually lowering the nose to try to pick our speed up, and we just leveled off. If we put it back in here, that power comes back. So we kind of want to keep it right to where we don't lose our 85%. So peak is minus 40, it says. Now it's a little high. And that's about what we want. We turn the assist back. Yeah, peak 0. That means we're good. Alright, we've passed above 18,000 feet. We'll go ahead and set the standard altimeter, which is going to be 2992. And we'll turn that back off there. And take a look back out. So we've come a ways. But we still have a long way to go. In fact, it's telling us we still have 405 nautical miles to go, and showing about 2.5 hours right now, but that hasn't taken in our final cruise speed, which will cause it to drop some more.
first, but here I am, 'cause I've been laying under palm trees waiting.
And see right here, we're climbing at a little less than 1,000 feet per minute. And what we probably need to do is push the throttle forward to try to keep that 30.5. So right about there. And it's going to continue to drop off because we're at that altitude where the plane just isn't able to produce its maximum rated power. I think we are going to end up sticking with 24,000. The service ceiling is set 25,000. And the plane can go higher than that, but it just isn't practical to operate at that kind of an altitude. I mean, could we set it and go 26? Yeah, probably. It may struggle. But if we, for example, were to take this up to 30,000, or to attempt to, I don't think we'd be able to. Could be worth trying at a different time. But yeah, see, this entire climb, we have burned 8 gallons. Alright, we have reached our cruise altitude of 24,000. So what do we do now? The cruise checklist. Haha, yes, of course. Alright. So cruise altitude is set, oxygen, so power lever, 30.5 or less. And you generally want to use the lean of peak technique in the cruise. So what we're going to do there is actually first thing we're going to do is go ahead and switch this. Now we can turn the boost pump off. And we'll adjust the mixture. So in cruise, the Cirrus operating handbook actually recommends, or the airplane flight manual as they call it, actually recommends that you lean below these below the cyan target. So we're gonna lean back. Now if you go full rich on the mixture, yeah, you look at how much burnt. And now it shows from what your peak was. So we pull back, it should start to peak, and it should peak. Right there, we start losing a little bit of power. It's at 20 gallons.
The birds have just begun. We will always take a stand for the people, for the land. Let's go back to.
And you can see kind of where we're at below peak. Now, but you start coming down here and you notice a real loss of power. So we want to try to keep it right about here. And if we pull back on the power to reduce the manifold pressure, it consists of actually enriching the mixture for the rated power, but that's not worth it, so we're going to put the power back in at full throttle. And we're going to keep it leaned right there on that target. So really right now we're burning about the same amount of fuel. watching our cylinder head temps. Those are all fine.
Savannah, I'm coming home, Savannah. We'll never be alone, Savannah.
That'll do. We're doing 208. We're actually... Our ground speed is better than I expected it to be. So now it's just saying an hour 50 remaining. Still a long flight.
They said, don't fall, don't forget all the things you've been taught, you've been told. Don't blink, don't
Got a 10 knot headwind up here. Minus 28 Celsius up here at altitude. Now we get a view. Look at that there, that's pretty. And out over that way, of course, is Denali. We are flying basically right over McKinley Park and Healy. You can look down here. There's McKinley Park. And there's Healy right back there. And then Clear and Nanana, I think, is covered in fog. Yeah, this road runs from Fairbanks to Anchorage. Runs right down here, kind of between these mountains, just past Denali, and then Talkeetna's out there, and Anchorage is way out there. So, just a rough idea of where we're at. We still have a pretty long hour 49. So, with the lean of peak cruise climb, we're actually not burning more fuel than we are. A tiny bit more, actually. Than we have it leaned out for cruise right now. So it's a good way to save on fuel on these longer hauls. If you're doing a short flight, you probably want to get up to cruise and just coast for probably time saving and fuel burning purposes. So you burn a ton of fuel on the way up, a fair bit in cruise, and then almost nothing on your descents because you pull the power. When we get our descent into Kodiak started, we're going to have a much slower descent, burning a kind of more steady rate of fuel. Of course, it'll be a lot less than right now, but it won't be like pulling the power way back. So just a couple cool new techniques that we're trying out on the long flight. Yeah, look at that view.
My heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, know I'll find you in my dreams. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that it's not reality.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary.
Alright, there's a nice view of Denali right there. So, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here. Because really, it's gonna be close to an hour and a half of just flying up here at cruise with nothing going on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back and pick it back up once we get close to start our descent into Kodiak. So at that point, I will start the stream back up, and I'll probably end up trying to link up the two videos somehow or whatnot. But thanks for flying with me thus far. Hope to catch you aboard in a little bit, and until then, take care, stay safe, and we'll see you back in probably about an hour and 15 minutes.